Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. I just wanted to make a short video on this particular topic. I haven't had too many comic book discussions as of late, because I've always been so busy and it's proven to be a challenge to make these videos. But I try to make them when I can, both haul videos, collection videos, and discussion videos. So anyway, I was thinking about this the other day when it comes to collecting versus investing in this hobby. I'll talk about both, and like I said, I'll try to be brief. I don't think this is something that will go on for minutes upon minutes upon minutes, but you never know. I tend to think that let me bring it down to me. What do I see myself as? Do I see myself as a collector or an investor when it comes to these books? Well, I think the easy answer would be kind of both, but I think the most logical answer and probably the most truthful answer is the investor. I mean, I think everybody is an investor. Anyone that collects, more or less, is an investor when it comes to buying these books. How could you not be? I mean, that's a question I would ask you. How could you not be an investor when you're buying certain books, when you're looking to upgrade your books, when you're looking for these books that are thousands upon thousands of dollars? How can you not consider yourself an investor? You could put the answers in the comments. Unless you just have tons and tons of money, and there are people out there, I know for a fact, some of the people that they have so much money they don't know what to do with it, and they just buy things without considering themselves being investors, without considering themselves investing in a particular product that they bought. They just don't care because they have so much money. But I would say that that's in the minority. Not too many people are like that. Many people are well off. Many people are just okay. And then there are some people that are not so well off. But I would think that if you're any one of those and you're buying expensive books, how could you not be an investor? And some people argue, well, no, I'm a collector. I don't like, and I've had this conversation on this channel before, so sorry if I'm repeating myself. That's why I don't like buying slabs. I like to have the raw copy. Honestly, I'd like to go with a slab. I like to go with slab every time because I consider myself an investor. I'm a collector at heart. I collect these because I enjoy them. I know some people like to collect because they like the thrill of the hunt and all that stuff. They like going through the long boxes and pulling out something that they thought they would not see. Everybody gets a certain high or a certain kick from this hobby. There are flippers and all that stuff. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And I've talked about this before. But for me, I absolutely love collecting some of the books I have. I look at them, or at least as many as I can, in a period of time. That's why I built a comic wall years and years ago, because I wanted to, every now and then when I come into this room, well, it's not every now and then, I come into this room daily, but you could see the stuff that's behind me. You could see games over here. You can see the PlayStation 2 games, and then there's PlayStation 1 games just above them, as you can see up here. And so much. You could see action figures, the Thundercats, all that stuff. You could see Data over here, Redemption Data. I made a video showing him off a year ago. It's one of my action figure bucket list things that I always wanted to get. I always wanted Redemption Data. But even when it comes to Redemption Data or some of these games, comic books, there's a certain investment involved, okay? I just didn't feel like spending X amount of dollars on Redemption Data just so I could say I have him. I wanted him because I like the character and I've liked that figure from going back to when I was a kid. But there's a certain level of value attached to it. I mean, maybe not as much as considering other things. So that I know, and that goes back to my conversation about slabs, so I know that one day if I decided to say, you know what, I'm done, or something to that effect, I could sell them and get back my money and then some, right? Let me talk a little bit about the investor part of me again. Then I'll talk a little bit about the collection, and then I'll end the video. Like I was alluding to before, A lot of people that whether, they make videos or they post things on Instagram or not, there are people out there that do both, and there are people that, don't do that. But for those that do or don't, but buy expensive things, and in this case, expensive comic books, I asked in the beginning of this video, how could you not consider yourself an investor? You just feel like spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on nothing? Is that the answer? Like, oh, well, I mean, this is not a question for the ones that are very well off and just have so much money that they have no idea what to do with it. This is just for your everyday average person that does well enough, or even whatever category, whatever socioeconomic status you are, and you're buying these things. You just decided to just spend thousands of dollars on a Spidey #1 and be like, well, I don't really care. I would say that's pretty careless. Yeah, look. You see some of my upgrades, and some of the things I want to get, and you know the other books I have in my collection. I buy them because I like them, I really like them, but I also know that down the line, long term, I'm more of a long term type guy. Some people are short term, and those are the flippers that I alluded to earlier. People will buy these books and figure, well, I'm gonna see if I could make a profit on this within the next 6 months or next year, with all the announcements of films and characters and all that stuff. That's when I'll take my $300 I spent on this and maybe make 600 or 700 or 1,000, depending on how popular or how much it blows up. Whatever. Those are the short-term people. Those are the flippers, the people that do this regularly. I don't consider myself a flipper. I mean, there have been things that I bought with the intention of selling, but I don't do that often. But the long-term investment, I'm saying, well, you say you don't sell. You're talking about investing and selling them off. Long-term, when I'm talking about long-term investing, is like I intend to, for the most part, give all these to my son. And he might take interest in keeping them and give them to maybe one of his children, or not. But that's what I mean by long-term. Eventually, down the line, whether it's me personally, which I don't think it's going to be me, or my son, which it may very well be, or one of his kids, they have the option to take what I bought and sell it. That's almost like a little investment for them. Now, I started this hobby because I liked it, and then I very quickly realized that, in order to have anything that you really, really like, you're going to have some money to back it up. You're going to have some capital. Not everything's a dollar book. It's great when you get a book that's very, very expensive, very cheaply. I mean, that's great too, but not often. You're not often going to find an amazing fantasy in a yard sale. Sometimes you do. Stranger things have happened. But that's the way I think about it when it comes to the investment part of it. Like, well, yeah, I bought this for me. I'm enjoying it. I have the option to sell it if I want down the line and make back my money and maybe make a couple of bucks. But I choose not to right now. I'm going to leave that for him. Where maybe even farther down the line, he can make more than what I ever thought I could make, or whatever I can make now. That's the way I look at it. So it's not just necessarily for me. It's for him. It's for whomever, they, all that sort of stuff when it comes to selling these books, long-term investment. And that's the way I look at it. I'm not going to go out there and spend $10,000 on an upgrade. It's like, I just feel like spending $10,000. That's just stupid. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, you spending money like that, or a little less or a little more, how could you not think that this is some type of investment, either short-term or long-term? The collecting part, and I'll end the video with this, the collecting part, I think, I kind of covered it in a way. Originally I got into this because, I liked the characters, I liked first appearances, I still do. And I wanted to get them, wanted to have them, something tangible in my hands. It was pretty cool, and realized down the line, or very quickly, I should say, that, to have some of the bigger ones that you really like Spider-Man and the X-Men and Crypt Keeper and all that stuff, you're going to have some money behind you. And, although the heart is a collector, the brain is more of an investor. Now, for sure I bought books over the years that, were stinkers, that really didn't turn out too well. I think we all have. Not often, but it's happened, and probably will happen again because, we're all human and make mistakes. But ultimately, I think that we're all, you can talk about how you feel about it in the comments, but I do think that at the very, even though we may be collectors at heart, at the very core of things, we're also investors in a way. And how you choose to invest is up to you, whether you're a short-term investor or a long-term investor. It really all depends on what you see in this hobby. So that is what I wanted to talk about. And one last thing about the slabs, and because I kind of mentioned it and I sort of I forgot about it. I found that, and I've said this in other videos, I found that, I know some people don't like to put their things in their books in slabs. To each his own. But I like to do it because then there's no argument about what the grade is. And it gets to what I was talking about. When you have those $10,000 books, $5,000 books, whatever high dollar value you have in the book, and you want to sell it to somebody, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who has an idea about buying books, right? You would think that if someone's going to buy a $10,000 book, right? You would think. I do it because they could look at it and they could see that it's not restored. Because if I were to buy a book, if someone would say, hey, I got this X-Men #1, it's really beautiful, I'm suspicious. I'm not suspicious that the person's trying to get one over on me. I'm not looking at it that way. Maybe that person doesn't know. I'm not going to spend a certain amount of money on a super book unless I'm absolutely sure. And there are people out there that are absolutely sure that a raw book is unrestored. Well, not all of us are. Just like not all of us are, mathematicians. Not all of us are writers. Not all of us are, this or the other thing. So knowing that, I think, will help you in life, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. And if I was to buy something, when it comes to this hobby, I was going to buy something that was a very high dollar, had a high dollar value on it, and saying, I'm knowledgeable on some things, but I'm also smart enough to know that I'm not knowledgeable on everything. So therefore, I wouldn't purchase a book like that unless it was an absolute steal, which it probably wouldn't be. I wouldn't buy it unless it's in the slab. That would give me a certain level of comfort knowing that my investment is not going to go down the toilet when one day I decide to grade it or I decide to sell it and say, hey, how much you spend on this? This thing was restored. Not smart. Not smart. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I mean, I know I covered some of these things in past videos, but just curious, I just thought this was an interesting topic to talk about for those of us in the hobby. So hope you enjoyed the video and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.